back to the That's More Like It podcast. I'm here with our lovely guest, Mindy. What is your user handle?
MindyMHatch.
MindyMHatch. I always call you Mindy Fitness, and I'm trying to figure out why in my head your Mindy Fitness is one of your
5 years
usernames.
ago, it used to be Mindy Fit Life. But that was a long time ago.
In my mind, I was like, Mindy Fitness. But now we know Mindy Hatch.
Go for it.
Perfect. She is a lovely fitness influencer who shares many workouts. I believe you have like a program as well, right?
Yes. I do one-on-one training and I have a couple of programs, yes.
So very well versed. I've been following you for a minute, so I'm a little bit of a fan. I'm very excited to have you on. I'm acting normal, but I'm really fangirling on the inside.
That's mutual.
Tell us a quick rundown of when someone asks, what do you do? What do you say?
Well, I do one-on-one training. I'm a women's fitness specialist. So I basically just love helping women learn how to be their best selves. And that always revolves around health. I wouldn't really call myself fitness.
Oh, okay.
I would say it's more health because, I don't know, fitness to me means that's the focus, whereas my focus is usually overall health. We want to make sure that we're well balanced and we're not chasing the dream body as much as we are the dream lifestyle. So
I love that. That's amazing. That's really great. And that's something that I feel like makes you stand out is that you do, especially like I love reading your captions on Instagram, because I feel like you do focus on the overall wellness. It's not just look at my gains or look at how I cut.
I do feel like that does set me apart because I want to have the energy. I feel like it's a luxury to have the body type and energy levels and everything to be fully focused on fitness all the time. But I don't have that luxury. You know, I have my health issues and I have everything personally that impacts me to need to focus on a healthy lifestyle rather than fitness. So I do think to a certain extent it sets me apart because you don't see a ton of like chronic illness mothers trying to appeal to a large variety of women / people interested in taking care of their health, because mostly it's the women who are already the type of person who have the energy and like they go, they nonstop,
the time, the flexibility. Okay. So you touched a little bit on mental health, physical health, illness. I want to get into all the juicy details later, but first we're going to do our That's More Like It moment. That can be something big or small where you had an aha moment, you learned something, you overcame something, changed something in your life, basically did something that made you say, that's more like it.
I love that.
Thank
love
you.
it so much. And I think it's important that we celebrate ourselves, especially for the small things, because it's really hard to celebrate ourselves. I feel like there's a lot that I could share, but like there's like certain boundaries that I have to put up in my brain of like, I can't like publicly share certain things. And so it's like hard because I'm like, like I've been a badass, but like which of those can I share?
That's a fair point.
I would say like I'm going to go with a little small victory here. I'm definitely, I would say, a pathological people pleaser.
Oh no. It's okay.
And so,
I've been there too.
yes. And as like a mother and everything, like it's really hard to not feel guilty for taking care of myself. And that's where I think a lot of women feel guilty, is like feeling guilty to like go to the gym, work out, eat right, because like they don't want to change the routine of their families. Like, but all in all, it's going to end up benefiting the family more if you do those things. So my story, my happy moment was this Monday. Like I hadn't worked out in a week. It's been a stressful week. And I have a babysitter come over a couple times a week so that I can get some work done and focus on my clients because I love them. But she came over and I like sat down at my desk and I was like ready to go. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I have nothing to give. Like I just feel like empty inside. I don't have anything to give. I don't know how I'm going to show up for my clients, because being a personal trainer is a lot of, I would say, like emotional, like reconfiguring the way people view food and exercise. And I get to connect with my clients on a really deep level. So it does take a lot out of me.
Yeah.
And so I sat down and I was like, I feel so guilty, but like I need to go to the gym. I haven't been in a week, and going to work out is one of the only things I get to do for myself. And so I was like, you know what, like my kids could use some fun. Like I need to be there for my clients, but I've been making more of an intentional effort to like try to scratch out the part of my brain that like tries to be a people pleaser and actually be willing to not feel guilty to do something for myself. So it was like the most simple thing, but I was like, any other day I would sit down and pour from an empty cup, but today is not that day. So I went to the gym and I worked out for like 2 straight hours, and it was exactly what I needed. It was something so small, but it's really hard.
It's huge.
So yeah, I was proud of myself. The fact that
that made a huge difference.
Yes. And I'm consciously thinking, okay, it's okay to do something good for myself. I don't always have to be doing what's best for other people. Like I can do things that are good for myself. So anyways.
I love that. Go you. And I imagine, especially like, I feel like you probably have a lot of people you feel like are counting on you, and that's a lot of pressure. And so I'm sure it's even harder to take those steps back and do some self-care.
Yes.
Whatever that may look like.
Because you feel guilty for it. And I did.
Yeah.
Like I did feel guilty. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this, but like I feel guilty about it. Like my kids, my clients, my everything. But I'm like, you know what, Mindy, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you're going.
No, you
so
can't.
I did.
In spite of the guilt. Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that little tidbit. I imagine a lot of people listening will relate to that sentiment. I feel like especially a lot of my listener base relates to the feeling guilty for doing things for yourself and trying to find the balance of like, well, am I being selfish? Am I pouring from an empty cup? You know, kind of finding that balance is really hard, but that's what we're talking about on this podcast. So that is so valuable.
Even taking a pause to think, am I pouring from an empty cup? What do I need for myself today?
Yeah. How do I fill myself
just
up?
taking a second, I think, is so valuable. So
I love that. That's amazing. Okay. Now we're going to get more into learning about you. So let's go back in time a little bit. Tell us where you're from, kind of what your life growing up was like, and then what did you expect your life to be like, and how is that different from how it is now?
So I grew up in Salem. So it's
Utah.
like not too far away.
Nice.
And it was a very small town back in the day. So I also have 10 siblings.
Do you really?
Full siblings.
I didn't know this at all.
Yes. So that was kind of how I grew up. I was number 4.
Is that
so
up or down?
I'm the 4th oldest.
Fourth oldest.
So in my family, I was definitely one of the older kids. Which is crazy because I was 4th. So like that should be one of the younger ones.
Yeah, right?
But yeah. So I would say like I've had health problems from my teens. And so I really like, I would say that I don't know that I had a lot of expectations for my future, not because my health issues were like so intense, but just because like doctors were like, well, you might end up not being able to have kids, you know, you don't know what your, you know, fertility is going to look like and this is going to look like. So I just never really knew what it was going to look like in my future. And I didn't want to like plan things that I couldn't end up having either.
Didn't want to set the bar a certain way and then be disappointed.
Yeah. So I feel like I just was okay to just take whatever came. So
Really?
yeah.
That's so sad. And then meanwhile, you're like here with all these kids being a boss. But
yeah.
But there was a journey to get there, I'm sure. So growing up with this big family, all of these siblings, not setting the bar very high, was there something that shifted in you that made you want to pursue what you're pursuing now? Kind of where's the journey with that? When did you know you wanted to kind of pursue this mental health, fitness, and helping other women?
Well, I would say that started after my Addison's diagnosis, but that was after I got married and I had a baby. So that pregnancy, my first pregnancy, I was only 20. So that first pregnancy, right? Oh my goodness.
I mean,
but
not
yeah,
for Utah, but
yes, it's pretty average for here, but like
But still,
it was
that's
too
a
soon.
lot.
I was terrified. I was not expecting that to happen, but anyways, so
surprising. Hey.
Anyways, so I would say I got really sick with that pregnancy. Like I was in bed for 9 months, and then my health got like a little bit better, and then went downhill for like 3-ish years after I had my baby.
Oh my gosh.
And so after I got diagnosed though, pretty immediately, I feel like I started to have a passion for, okay, but what now? You know, because I looked at all these like Facebook pages for Addison's disease, which is my disease. Have I said that?
Are you comfortable sharing kind of what that is for those who don't know?
So Addison's disease is where your immune system attacks and kills both of your adrenal glands. And so your adrenal glands produce cortisol, they produce energy, they produce whatever hormone it is that helps you retain water and stuff.
Very important things.
And so, yeah, so, you know, the symptoms for that were really hard because they went on for years, undiagnosed. So like hyperpigmentation, unexplained weight loss, nausea, vomiting, you know, I had a lot of numbness in like my hands and feet, like the worst migraines ever, really bad brain fog. Like it was tough.
So you'd experienced these symptoms for years and just didn't know what it was?
Yeah.
Were you searching for an answer?
I was.
It just like, this is life?
Yeah, I was searching for an answer. I had some bad experiences with medical providers that I just felt, I mean, they were very lazy. And so I felt like I didn't have to go through it as long as I did, which frustrates me. But yeah, I went through it for almost 3 years and I was fighting for answers. I just was too tired to actively find new healthcare providers, right? Like,
oh yeah.
So yeah, if I would have like switched it up and gone to new, like maybe it would have been diagnosed faster, but it wasn't diagnosed till I went into crisis. Which is where like my husband went to wake me up before he went to work one morning and I didn't wake up. I was in a hypoglycemic coma.
Oh my gosh.
And they brought me into the hospital and they revived me. And then they were like, hey, you should be good to go. Except then I couldn't keep down food.
They
and
just
so then,
sent you home?
Well, they were going to, but my levels weren't stabilizing. I was everywhere and I kept like vomiting and they were like, oh, I guess. So they admitted me to the ICU and then, from there was like a newer doctor that worked at the hospital at the time and he had just gone through school. So he just read up about Addison's disease. And so he was like, maybe it's that, like her symptoms are kind of similar. So they were like, okay, we'll try that treatment. And they found my cortisol was like 0.8, I think. And it's supposed to be, the lowest it's supposed to be is 4 to 18 or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, so I was like, just, my body had no energy. So,
you weren't producing enough.
Yeah, like I was dying, you know?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
You laughed. I was like, oh, that's terrifying.
Well, that was,
for you, that was life. That was,
well, yeah. And
normal.
I've heard a lot of people who get diagnosed, they're like, oh, this is so heartbreaking because my whole life has changed. Like I am now not the person I wish I was or I used to be. Whereas for me, I feel better now than I ever did in my entire childhood. So I'm like, this diagnosis gave me everything. Like it gave me a life that I never knew I could have. And yeah, I worked up to it very slowly over the course of the last 6.5 years since my diagnosis. But I'm very grateful. And when I got on the what was it? Like the Facebook pages for Addison's disease, it was so discouraging because everyone was like either in their like 50s or later and they were just basically trying to survive, right? Like trying to figure out how to manage with the illness. And that was really discouraging to me because I'm like, I'm 23 and I just had a baby and I just found out I was pregnant. So I was like,
really on top of all of that.
Yes. So I was like, I have to believe that there's something better than this, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's when I started my page and I wanted to do it in a way that wasn't all about Addison's disease because that's a very rare disease. Like not a lot of people are going to have Addison's.
It is specific.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I want to relate to people that have like any type of thing where they feel like they can't, like they have a hard time fighting for their health, whether that be mental health, whether that be physical health, like whatever it is that holds you back. Like I want to relate to that type of person.
Yeah.
So that's why I started my page. And
that's amazing.
And that was right after I had my diagnosis. So I was pregnant with my second, and that's kind of where my love of it started.
That's amazing. I love that you've taken something that a lot of people I feel like could become jaded, and maybe, you know, that's fair enough because I mean I would probably be too, but you've taken that and really flipped it on its head and created a community for women who don't even have the same thing that you have, but they just relate to the similar feeling of pain or chronic illness or mental health or whatever it is. I think that's really awesome. You can't even imagine being pregnant on top of that, especially your second baby. How old were you at the time?
I think I was 23 when I got diagnosed. So I think I was still 23, maybe 24. I'm not sure. But yeah, I was a little baby.
That is so
just
intense.
a little baby.
So I do kind of want to, I'm curious, because we talk about relationships a lot on here. Your husband, how did you guys meet? And then when did you guys meet? Or is that not a good...
No, that's fine. I just feel like we don't have like that exciting of a story. It's not like...
That's okay. But I think it's the beauty of many relationships is that the reality is they don't have to be exciting to be...
Well, it was exciting to me. I just don't think it's exciting to listen to.
It doesn't have to be like some crazy story, but it's like, I want to show real stories.
Well, we met, we lived in the same apartment complex, so we ended
Granbury, where was it at? Was it in...
Yes! How did you
joking, but that's so funny.
Yeah,
no, I didn't know at all. I just feel like I was like, it's probably
like 10 years ago. Yeah, like 10 years ago was the place. So
funny. I just met many a boy in Granbury, so.
Oh my gosh, that you're making me feel like for sure a cliche. Like I know I'm a cliche, but now for sure.
I didn't know that many couples that like end up going through with it in the Granbury.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah,
that's so weird. That's crazy.
So yeah, we met like at the pool because we lived in the same apartment complex.
The pool
and
or the hot tub?
The pool.
Oh, really? Okay. Usually it's like, you want to go to the hot tub? It's like midnight. Should we go?
No, that would have been a lot sexier, but no. No. So yeah, we just had some similar friends, and yeah, we just ended up hanging out a lot. And then after like 6 months of hanging out, then we started dating.
Wow,
which
that's
for the Branbury, it was slow, right?
Look at you.
So yeah, yeah, and then our engagement was like 2 months. So.
You really sped it up. You're like, okay, we gotta catch up.
Yeah, I was proud that we knew each other for a year though, because I felt like that was a lot longer than a lot of people around here. So
honestly,
like,
that's what, like,
it's still so short though. Looking back, I'm like, wow, only 19-year-old Mindy would be like that. I turned 20 a week before we got married. So
hey, mine was like this. My mom was like, I'm not gonna pay for a teenage wedding, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll wait.
I was just like, wow,
barely turned 20.
That's embarrassing to me. I don't want to get married when I'm 19. So I was like, I have to be 20. That's the only rule.
That was why you did that. Yeah. That's hilarious. But 20 really makes a difference. Your brain really shifts.
Such a difference.
It's one of those things that with hindsight, like at the time, it feels like, wow, that's so long. Like 6 months, 2 months feels like so long. I can't wait. And as you get older, I imagine you probably look at your kids and you're like, oh my gosh, if they come to me and they're like, I'm getting married in 2 months, it would be different than when
yes,
you were doing
but
that.
Also telling my kids how old I was when I got married, like it was important to me at the time. Like I just don't want to be 19. Like I just want to at least say like 20. You know?
Yeah, that is
like
true.
20.
That is a good. You had the hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I definitely didn't know how quickly my parents got married until like after the fact, and then they were like, yeah, we dated for a while, and then I was like, oh, it was like 6 months. Kind of.
It's embarrassing because you're like, yeah, thinking about your kids, like you don't want them to do that.
No.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you want them to date someone for a couple years, you know, like whatever. But no,
and then they're gonna get there and go, Mom, you don't understand. And I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean, I was definitely celebrated for getting married, so there's that.
Hey, that's good.
No one made me feel bad about it. It was me in my own head.
Okay, that's good. Yeah,
someone should have probably been like, did you want to date him a little longer, Mindy?
Yeah, but I'm very much a proponent of like, you got to learn the way you got to learn.
That's
like,
true. I wouldn't have listened.
Yeah, like if that's the way, you know, and it either works out or it doesn't, and like.
And I'm glad. For me, I'm so glad it happened the way it did. I just feel bad saying it because I'm like,
you know, work for everyone.
It's not going to work for most people. It is not going to work.
Like, I was one of the cases where I was like, oh, that was like,
and I don't want to advertise it that just because it worked for me that it could work for someone else, because I'm like, that is, the odds are just so low. So yeah.
But people have to understand context. So don't get married young unless you're unless you're married. But some people though, like I had a seminary teacher who got married after a week, and like they've been together forever. I'm like, that's crazy, but. Also,
you also can't know that they're happy together, though. You don't know that they're happy together.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They were just like still holding hands and they were like 80. So I was like,
oh, that's so cute.
It was really cute.
See, we just all want that. That's all we want.
This is such a tangent, but the neighbors downstairs, I also don't know if I should be saying this, but they're this cute little old couple. And every time I pass by, their windows are always open. And they're just like cuddling.
Just together.
They're just together, walking together, being cute.
See,
like,
and that's what I have
so
in
cool.
mind when we go through tough times. I'm like, but
we could be
but
so
someday,
cute and old.
but someday, like if we can just figure all this shit out, then someday we can be the old couple. I want to be the old couple.
Yeah, you want to move in downstairs. Which, speaking of being married and all of that, and we don't have to get into this too much, but just kind of life in general with you doing social media and being a mom and having a career. How have you found the balance of that? And I know maybe this is a cliche question, I suppose, especially in Utah, but at least that's something I really struggled with myself, and I know a lot of women do, with like feeling the guilt, feeling the shame. How do you find that balance? What does that look like? Have you found a balance? Is that something you're still trying to figure out?
Yeah, I'm definitely still finding the balance. I don't have the balance.
Yeah.
I don't have the balance. And here's the thing. It's hard because like social media and everything gives you flexibility to like ghost the world, you know, if you need to, which is great, but you pay for it dearly.
Oh, tell us
you know,
about that.
well, because the internet is so fickle. So it's like, if you're not upfront, top of people's minds for, you know, even like 1 week, then it's like you're not in their minds anymore. You have to rebuild. And that's what I feel like I'm doing right now. Like, I feel like I have to rebuild. And it's just the cycle. It's just normal. And I get that. And that's fine. Yeah. But, you know, it is really hard too, because I feel like a lot of people who are successful at social media are not the people with kids, or that's what their page is about. Right?
Yes, they're including the kids so then they can kind of enjoy time with kids.
Yes,
and their page.
And I'm a little paranoid, so I don't like to include a ton of my kids because I'm like,
so I don't.
They're
think
a little
I've seen
older
any
too.
content with your kids.
They're definitely in there. It's just not focused around that.
Yeah.
And so so for me, I have to do it around the kids, which makes it hard because they're everywhere all the time. Like, they're my kids, you know, I am a mom all the time.
Yeah.
So it makes it hard to like figure that out, balance around my kids and what's like the appropriate amount to include them versus like what I feel like is too much, you know, to like keep them safe.
I do think that's something I've thought about too, where I'm like, I don't have kids, I'm not in that position, but it's something always at the back of my mind one day where I'm like, well,
maybe you'll be like a mommy page.
Yeah.
And that's great. But for me, I just like, I was just like, I get so stressed. And my oldest is 9. So I'm like, I feel like he's old enough that he needs his privacy, you know, like I'm not like, whereas the first 2 years, like, I feel like their face changes so much and they are whatever, like they're always on your hip. So you just have to include them more. But as they get older, it's like,
they're going through puberty.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know where I stand with everything, but there's some, like, when it's very, very heavily involved with the kids, like so heavily where it's like very intimate with like young kids. That's when I'm like, I don't know if I was a kid in that situation, if I would have handled that well.
Yes.
Where I'm like, I'm so glad that none of my puberty was documented for anybody.
I mean, I was just so cringe in every way throughout every day of that. So I'm like, I do feel like once kids also get past that a little bit, once I can teach them that it's, first of all, their choice, how to handle being exposed to potentially millions of people. Because, like, you know, figuring out hate comments, if they can read, they'll see those. You know, figuring out hate comments, also figuring out the balance between not getting all their validation from that stuff, like knowing that they're valuable no matter what the internet thinks. Like, until I can teach them how to be mentally stable around that, then I just don't want them to have that burden. Can you imagine having that burden? Like, it's hard enough showing up to school.
Like, I would have just I don't think I would have handled
But
that well at all.
I think some people do it great. I have no shade to people who do that, like with their kids. I have no shade to that. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So
I think my thing is that I think it's possible. I just think it has to be done thoughtfully with care.
yes.
And I don't know how that's done, but I do.
Me either.
I've seen some people where I'm like, oh, I can get on board with that. I've seen some people where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that, but
Yes.
I'm also not a mom, so I'm like, I am in no place to.
And that's
What
another
am I
issue
saying
too.
that?
That's another issue is I have like a health and wellness page, right? And so there's a balance to include my kids, but then also because I'm a mom, I am not going to film every workout. Like that is for my mental health. Like I'm not going to sit and film every workout and be perky and like exciting and fun.
I love
and like
you
no.
posted some sort of, it was like your vlog or like follow me video where you were just like pissed. And I loved it. I was like, yeah, this is real.
Are you talking
Like,
about my
look at you
grumpy
filming.
get ready
Yeah,
with
your
me?
that's what it was.
Or my
I just
grumpy
remember going
workout?
like,
See,
like,
and
this is it.
if I can go to an empty gym, I will do a grumpy workout. I will be authentic to myself. But if I have to go into a public busy gym, I'm not going to feel embarrassed about filming myself and talking to the camera. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not. So I'm like, I try to do it once a week. Like I schedule either going to a private gym so that I can film and like use that to help people film stuff for my clients, stuff like that. Or I schedule once a week where I just go to the busy gym and I just don't do like audio and stuff. Other people are brave enough to do that. I am not.
I always wonder when I see your videos, I'm like, are you over the embarrassment of filming in public?
No,
or is it still weird?
I am so embarrassed to film in public. But
you always look great where I'm like, wow, it's like she just does it.
well, even if there's only one person in the background shot of my video, then if they like move out of frame because they see me filming, then I feel so good. Again, pathological people pleaser. I'm like, I ruined their workout. I ruined their day. And
told the therapist
they're
about
never
me.
going to come back to the gym because they were in the background of my
Salsa
video.
is ruined. Mindy was there. MindyMHatch.
Yes, and I just feel so bad. But then there's obviously like other like people that are just like, oh my gosh, am I in your video? And like whatever. And I'm like, I promise you won't be. Like I promise that. But I try to be so careful because I'm like so terrified of someone like a beginner. Imagine showing up to the gym the first day in like a year or ever, I don't know, whatever. And you're in the background of someone's video. Like that's so uncomfortable. It's hard enough to just show up to the gym, let alone being in someone's video.
I didn't get ready for this.
Yes, like I would 100% rather rent out a gym so that I can
you
film
do
content.
rent out?
Yes.
Do you
I
really?
do, yes, because I'm like
a room or a whole gym?
well, like a gym, but like a smaller gym.
Okay.
Like not
Still,
like an
though,
entire,
that's
like I don't rent out Vasa.
bougie.
Like
I was like, what hookup do you have?
No, it's like just small, tiny gyms. It's like, oh, you want to come film for a couple hours? Well, we usually only have classes in the mornings and the afternoons anyway. So like anytime, it's really easy. It's really easy to find gym space. It's just, I would rather do that than risk ruining someone's experience with a public gym, because like it's so
very
scary to go.
considerate of
It's even
you.
scary for me to go to a public gym sometimes. So depending on my mood. So I'm not going to ruin someone else's day.
I love it. Like my thought would be like, oh no, like I'm just embarrassed because people look at me a certain way. You're like, these people, I could ruin their life. Like you're a much better person than me. Whereas I'm like, oh, I'm gonna look weird.
That's empath problems right there.
That's
Me trying to teach myself that I can't feel feelings for every person on the planet. So
Well, that's a very good thing to learn. That's definitely been a
unlearning
learning thing for me too, where I'm like, I'm finally learning. I'm like in work situations on set to just like, I don't have to be everyone's best friend, and it's okay. But gosh,
I think it's
hard.
a typical Utah problem, if I'm being
Also
honest. I think a lot of us are
true.
like that.
Yeah.
Or not.
No, I think, but I also feel like there's more like, I feel like in Utah, I'm more likely to be friends with more people, but they're not going to be as deep like.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like there's a lot of more niceness, but not necessarily like, actually I want to get to know you. It's more touch and go.
Just to be clear, I always want to get to know you. I don't.
Get
Get busy with kids. I just get busy with kids. So I always want to know people.
How many kids
but
do you have right now?
3 right now.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean
Not
more.
you pressuring me to have another
that's
one.
the last thing I would want to do. I just meant
you were leaving it open.
You had like 2 at the time.
Yes.
Timeline.
I currently and for always, hopefully, will have 3.
3 kids. Honestly, that's a lot already.
It is a lot.
So
it is a lot.
Great.
And we just got a dog, so that's plenty.
Oh my goodness.
The dog is the hardest one.
Are you training the dog?
Not well. Not well.
Like, are you passing it off to someone? Or are you doing that work yourself?
TJ does a lot of it. TJ does a lot of it. It's his.
Good.
It's like his dog. But then also my oldest is 9, so he helps out a lot. But yeah.
Oh, that's good.
He's a Frenchie, so he's absolutely energetic and insane.
But
so
that's a Frenchie puppy.
yeah.
Oh man, that's a lot.
He's like 7 months old now, so he's getting big. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Super exciting. A lot of responsibility. I've totally gotten sidetracked. We've gone on so many tangents, which is great. I'm gonna pause.
That's my caffeine braid. We can't stick to one thing. Caffeine braid.
I'm not even on caffeine. I can't do that.
Oh, you're one of those.
No, I have caffeine. I really try to peel it back. I'll have like this much pre-workout, just a little bit, and then I'll have like little bits throughout the day.
That's how it starts.
What are you insinuating? You don't know me. No, I used to like really. I used to heavily take caffeine.
Well, I always have to take a step back.
Heavily take. Ingest. How much caffeine do you have in a day?
I don't know. It depends. I'm at a higher amount right now than I usually am, but I feel like it's still lower than most people, like 300.
Or like
no, that's like 300 milligrams a can.
I know it's a lot.
Like I would get a heart attack.
I'm not recommending
like 300 milligrams. So like I'll have like a coffee and then like half an energy drink or
okay, that gives me a better gauge of
yeah.
Okay.
Or like or like half a scoop of pre-workout and then an energy drink. Or coffee, one or the other. I try to
more than I
switch it up.
Now.
I try to switch it up.
I just get anxiety. Do you get anxiety from it?
It depends on the day.
Is it raining outside? No.
I can.
If it's not raining outside, I will be anxious. I appreciate the British accent.
I do though. Like if I overdo it, like it definitely makes me anxious.
Yeah. If I do it too much, then I will just fall asleep.
That's
like
true.
It makes me tired when I go the
That's
other way.
true.
Like I've done caffeine naps, but they're not bad.
They're not bad.
Well, they're probably bad for me, but
I don't know. Does it feel good? If it feels good, it's good.
Yeah, it does.
That's my motto.
If it feels good, it's good. You heard it here first. That's the clip I'm gonna put online. I'm like, watch this episode because you're gonna learn a lot. Oh man, please don't try that at home. What I really wanted to get into, we were talking about hate online. And I love how you've just taken things on the chin and responded to certain people's mean or passive-aggressive comments, mostly men's comments. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
A sad amount of women too, though. Like it's not just men. It's not like, it's not like I feel like everyone always assumes it's men, and
I guess
it would be easier
for men. So usually I'm like, this is unfortunate.
Yeah, but it would be better if it was just men, but it's still women, which it bums me out.
You're like,
it
better.
bums me out.
Women not supporting women.
But I just want to make that clear because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, men this or men that, and that's not how I feel. I feel like it's just a type of person, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Men
women. I'm not hating on a gender here. Like I'm just I want us to all be kinder, all of us.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, my bad.
No. If you get all from men, like go
That's
off.
What, for some reason,
go
on
off.
Mine, it's like mostly, but
it is mostly men. It is, but
for you've had haters. I mean, you tell me what kind of they say because I've seen what they've said to you. But usually, what's one of the more common comments about what you're
they just it's either what I'm wearing or my body type, but a lot of it is about what I'm wearing, which is funny because I'm like I don't feel like I'm wearing less clothing than any other person at the gym, but like it triggers them.
What's kind of your response usually when someone approaches you online or in person about what you're wearing? If they say, oh, that's salacious, oh, you're trying to get attention, or you're not actually going to the gym to work out.
Yes.
How do you kind of
So
process that?
I just feel like it's funny that people make assumptions about other people based on appearance alone. Because yeah, I do like to wear a cute outfit to the gym. It really does encourage me to go. It encourages me to like give it my all. And that's valid. Like it really does help me. And so that's why I dress the way I do, and I love it. But
Plus you look really cute every time I've seen you. So.
But I kind of like those comments.
Oh.
I like them because I feel like it shows you what a lot of people think, but not as many people say. They only say it online, right?
So anonymity.
Yes. So you get a good glimpse of what people actually think because they're saying it online, where it's like they're more unfiltered because they have no profile picture. They're a private account, you know.
Yeah.
And so you get to see what they think. And I only assume that many other women get those comments. And maybe they get comments about not being confident enough. Maybe they get comments about being frumpy or whatever, you know, like.
Which is funny that there's always like, if you dress a certain way, then it's like, oh, you're being slutty. But then if you dress this other way, then it's like,
yes,
you're
not enough.
This is a turn off.
Exactly. And so I look at it as an opportunity to like show up for my girls. Like I look at it as an opportunity to show like, hey, people are going to think this way. And this is my counter. And this is why I dress the way I do. Is it about being sexual at the gym? No.
I don't think I want anyone hearing.
No. And I know the argument is that there are girls who do that. There's a lot of different people out there.
You could say that about anything.
There's a lot of different people out there.
Someone's taking something and using it.
Yes.
For whatever.
So if you're talking about modesty, if you're like, Mindy, is that necessary? That's immodest. Then to that I say modesty is a mindset. Modesty is about action. How do I show up to the gym? Am I like flaunting myself and like putting myself out there, being flirty? Like I don't even know how to be flirty. I've been married for 10 years. I have been married for 10 years. Like I don't even know how to do that. Yeah. So yeah, at the gym I show up and I feel
changing because of the way you're dressing. If not, you're good.
No, and I feel very modest. I feel like I'm almost overly modest in the way that I act. And so no matter what, women are going to pick apart their bodies.
Yeah.
They're going to think, you know, maybe I'll wear that. Maybe I'll wear shorts when I lose 10 pounds. Maybe I'll wear shorts when I put on more muscle, when I build a booty. You know, maybe I'll get to this goal and then I'll be able to wear what I want. And that's the mentality that I want to show up and be like, hey, guess what? When you lose 10 pounds or when you build a booty, you're still maybe going to hate your body. You still might be really insecure. And so how about let's figure out how we can own what we have, feel empowered, wear whatever we feel confident and comfortable in, whether that be covering up or wearing shorts. So I feel like the hate comments like enable that conversation. And I feel like that's a very healthy conversation to have. So does it bug me when they criticize my body specifically, like my boobs being so tiny? I'm like, okay, I can't change that. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
what do you want me to do?
I do bench press, okay? Like, what do you want from me?
Actually.
So in that regard, like it bugs me, but it's still an empowering thing to figure out how to talk about, because there are always going to be women who need to hear what you have to say because they've struggled in the same area. Like whatever area it is, you are not alone, and there's other people who need to hear what you have to say. And so it enables, like, I love it. It enables the conversation.
I feel like, again, you're really good at taking something that is, you know, you could say inherently negative and going, well, it's happening. What am I going to do with this?
Yeah, like I wouldn't think to open that conversation if I didn't get those comments. But I get those comments and I'm like,
Wait a
shit,
second.
have other girls been told this? Because I will defend them.
I will
You know what I
fight.
mean?
I will throw
Like, I
hands.
do it for them. I wouldn't do it for
Yeah.
myself because then I'd be too timid, but I'll do it for the other girls.
People pleaser.
Yes.
So when you say, okay, talking about body type, and you had made a comment about like, okay, like you can still get to the dream body or lose the 10 pounds or gain the muscle and still not be comfortable in your body.
Yeah.
What is the trick, or what are your
Do
tips
you know,
for overcoming
yeah,
that?
do you know any person who looks at their body and thinks that they have everything going on?
No.
Maybe dudes, not
I was
girls.
gonna say like yeah.
Not
Even
women.
dudes, though, I feel like a lot of dudes, especially even within the fitness space, like there's a lot of unspoken about eating disorders and disorders.
Yes.
You know, body dysmorphia that like isn't talked about because it's
Absolutely. And that's why I say like we have to chase the lifestyle of our dreams, right?
Oh,
Not
okay.
the
I like
body
that.
of our dreams. And so, you know, I do my client calls when I do onboarding and I try to take on a new client for my one-on-one training. It's all virtual. It's all on an app. So I can have any
What's the
client.
app called? Give it a plug.
It's like I send you a link to it like
Oh,
after
okay.
so like I rent
reach
out
out.
an app, and so but it's my specific link that sends you to it. So
Oh,
you
awesome.
can't get it unless we're
It's
actually going to be clients.
exclusive.
Sorry. In the future, like it would be fun to do an actual subscription based app where I can just be like, this is my app and what it's called and everything.
I
But
could totally see you doing that.
but for now, I'm like, I want to be closer to people. I want to be their friend. I want to be their coach. I want to help them on an individual level because everyone is an individual, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't do cookie cutter programs all the time. Well, most people can't. Some people have a great body for that. Like they have energy and
You're like, but no, we're not going
yes.
for that.
So when I like take those calls and I'm trying to get to know a potential client better and everything, like I always try to say, you know, we take a long-term approach. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but we take a long-term approach. We work it in at your pace, right? So for some people, they start the meal plan and the workout program and they go all in, and they can do that, which is amazing. But for most people, they have to take it slower. They have to be like, okay, Mindy, I can do this month. I love to cook, so I'm going to focus on the meal plan, you know, and I won't even tell them to focus on macros. I'll tell them, you know, try to hit your calorie goal and your protein goal. Let's like oversimplify it because even just that is so hard. It's so hard.
It is.
Like even just the protein goal. Like, are you kidding me?
It's when I very first like figured out about protein, I had no idea. Like,
There has been,
it was so overwhelming.
I can count on two hands the amount of days I've actually hit my protein goal, right? Like it's so hard.
Yeah.
And obviously I aim high because I know I fall short every time. So I have wiggle room. But yeah, so I'm like, let's focus on one thing. If you can't do the meal plan because that feels too overwhelming, we'll focus on workouts. If you are overwhelmed by all of it, let's just focus on getting in a gallon of water per day, drinking a green drink. I don't care what kind, like just get some greens in your body. Let's drink a protein shake if we can, and let's go on a walk. You know, 8 hours of sleep is a big one. 8 hours of sleep, please. Like the clients who don't see progress are usually not prioritizing water, walking, or sleep. Like it's usually
Basic
one of the three.
fundamentals.
Yes. And it's one of those. And then, you know, you can add in protein shakes and green drinks and stuff. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't have to be complicated. So that's what I would say if someone's struggling knowing where to get started, how to feel their best without chasing a body type as much. I would say get 8 hours of sleep, a gallon of water, and go on a walk, you know? And then if you can master those three things in like a couple weeks to a month, then let's start adding in exercise. Let's start adding in a protein goal. Let's start adding in whatever you want, but at your pace. And everyone's going to look different. So don't feel bad about where you're at, because a lot of the times the people who do go all in, they burn out. They burn out, and it's so hard to maintain that because they didn't do it slowly. So
I love that. That makes me respect you so much because I've trained with some trainers, and I feel like oftentimes an approach, in my experience, you know, and maybe things are different now, that a trainer oftentimes is like just trying to shape your body in a certain way, and it can feel very dehumanizing, and especially if when I've worked with a male trainer, sometimes I worry. I'm like, oh no, like, is this just how I'm supposed to look? What if I can't do that? And they just kind of set everything out at once and say, okay, go and hit your goals.
Yes.
And I'm going to list all the stuff, but I love that you start like manageable. Like, what can you do?
Yes.
And start there.
And when you achieve your dream body, usually you don't know it's your dream body until after, though, just to be clear, because usually you're unhappy with yourself. And then 3 months later, when you've gained some weight because you realize you can't sustain 1,200 calories a day forever. So you gain some weight back and you're like, oh shoot. Then like the next year, the next 2 years, you look back and you think that's your dream body, but you don't realize that during that time you didn't view it that way. Like that wasn't your dream body. You were unhappy. You were miserable. You weren't eating. So you hated every bit of it. And so, yeah, so it has to be slow. And the people who do that usually end up struggling with a relationship with food, and they get really discouraged really easy because they think in order to have the body that they want, that they have to eat 1,200 calories a day, because the trainer didn't stay with them afterwards and be like, okay, so we did a deficit, but now we're going to move you into maintenance calories. And guess what? You get to keep your body if you eat maintenance calories. Like, you don't know that because you've been getting the body you want through 1,200 calories a day.
And you think that's just how it is.
Yeah. And you think that in order to maintain, that's what you have to eat, but it's not the case. Like, you get to eat like double the amount and maintain your body, because you were in a deficit. So yeah, so that's why I do like to do like a long-term approach, but it's really discouraging for clients because then it takes longer to see results. And while they may feel better and they're a lot happier, then they're like, but they want the 3-month results, right?
Yes.
Which is hard. So I have the toughest clients ever.
But you have to, something I've really tried to tell myself is, like you've said, thinking the long game. And I love how you phrased it of saying you won't even know you have the dream body when you have it, because it comes with the dream lifestyle, not just what you look like. And it's later on you look at it and go, well, that was the dream body.
Yes.
But I think of me too, because I've been in a gaining weight phase, coming from like being anorexic. And, you know, it's hard when you look in the mirror and you go, oh my gosh, I was so little and now I'm not, and I'm taking up space.
And you glorify it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I remember like, I was like passing out. Like I was so cold. I would be doing auditions and literally like falling asleep.
Oh my gosh. Cause you don't have energy.
I was so malnourished. But then I look back and I'm like, oh, but I look dead in the eyes. And it's like, I have to remind myself, like you said, you're not achieving a certain body. I love that. I've never heard it phrased that way, where you're achieving a certain dream lifestyle.
Yes, you need to be able to live with yourself. So you have to figure out
not just look at yourself.
What balance of health is good for me as an individual, because it is an individual thing. Like some people are like, I'm good with 3 workouts per week and I, go on walks a lot and I, do this or that. A lot of people are good with 5 workouts a week and, they follow the meal plan pretty good. Like they do more of an all-in approach, but whatever that looks like for you. For me, I get discouraged because I want to be the 5 workout a week girl who focuses on nutrition all the time. Like I want to be the all-in girl. I want to be the all-in girl. Yeah. But then I get discouraged because I have like a tough week with my health or with stress levels or busyness because I'm a mom or my kids get sick. And then I take an unexpected like 2 weeks off the gym. And that happens consistently. That's not just like, so every week I aim for 5 workouts and every week I fail. I always do 4 workouts a week, but I always want to do 5 workouts. Yes. And I have it in my brain, but I try not to beat myself up about it when I miss one, because I know I do. I do. But if I get in that 5th one, I feel great. But then usually the next week I only get in 3.
You make up for it. You compensate.
So I know.
Give yourself grace for like the lifestyle also that you choose, where it's like, well, like I am a mom and it's like, well, I didn't get this workout in, but I spent that time doing something else that I valued, or,
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you have to balance it with all of your wants.
Yes. And if I do 5 workouts a week, I could sacrifice my energy levels for my kids. But if I do 4 workouts a week, then I get to jump on the tramp with them. I got to go on a walk. I get to go on a hike with them. I have the energy to make dinner better, like a better meal. Like I sacrifice what I want to better fit the lifestyle that I want, right? Like, because aesthetically, we all want the 5 workout a week body. The 6 workout a week body. Please don't work out 7 days a week. Please just don't. But 5 or 6 days a week, like that body is great. Like we want that body, but like, is that our happiest lifestyle? Like not necessarily. No. We want to live a real life here.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's so, so valuable. And I do think it takes some humility to allow ourselves to go, like, there's nothing wrong with not having the perfect body if that means I'm happier in the long term. I do think it's hard to let go of that.
And also, like, for some clients, it is, like, for some people, I should say, it is about, like, the food, and they feel so guilty. If you have been anorexic, then you know, like, you feel so guilty for food. First of all, food is fuel, so we are enabling our bodies to have the energy to do the things that we love. But second of all, a lot of people feel guilt over like sugar or like candy or sweets or
my guilty pleasures. I
chips and queso.
Take it away from me.
Yes, like they go out to eat Mexican food one night and they can't. Like they feel so guilty after. And you know, I try with those clients or those people, I try to be like, hey, can we just work in like a handful of M&Ms a day? Can we just work in like, what's your thing? Is it like a soda or your coffee? A lot of people, it's their like morning coffee. They just want it full of sugar. They want it. And I'm like, I will not take that away from you. Like never. Like I would rather have you never lose a pound and only gain muscle because you get those extra however many calories with your latte. And so we focus on that because I will not have them thinking that they can't have the things they love. So yes, the results take longer. It always will, but they're teaching their brain to not be afraid of food. So does this turn a 3-month rigorous training program into a 5-year program? Yes, but you will live it the rest of your life.
The time's going to pass anyways.
And you'll live it the rest of your life. Like you're not going to yo-yo. You're not going to gain 10 more pounds because you were starving, you know, like you're going to learn that like you get to feel full every single day, 3 times a day, you know? So.
Yeah, I definitely think the yo-yoing, doing the extreme, at least for me, like none of it was worth it. It had just created disorder eating. And now I'm going, oh man, going back to like younger me, I would have just been like, don't get into that.
Just eat a handful of M&Ms every day.
Eat the M&Ms. Eat the damn cupcake.
Just do it. Yes.
I love this, and you're giving this all away for free. This is our first podcast, so I'm very excited. Next thing I wanted to get into, you may have kind of already covered this. Are there any misconceptions or stigmas within kind of the fitness, mental health industry that you wish you could change people's mind about?
Yes, because I feel like I feel like a lot of people chase their dream body and not their dream lifestyle. So I feel like that's a misconception because you get to chase a dream lifestyle and add to your life. We want to add to your life every step of the way. So while it might feel like a lot at the beginning with like even making 1 healthy meal per day is a lot. Like that's a lot. You know, an easier route is like a protein shake, right? That's a little easier. We can digest that a little easier and add it to our lifestyle. But an actual
chicken breast.
Yes, like actually eating so much freaking chicken.
I'm so sick of chicken right now, I'm gonna be honest.
I've gotten sick of eating because I'm so sick of like my gluten-free, dairy-free. I can't have rice anymore. So I'm so sick of eating. No. I'm like, I need to fast. Find some good meals because I will just go to like out to eat every day. Jersey Mike's, they have
what is that?
It's just a sandwich place, but they have gluten-free bread.
This is in Utah?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. They have one in Saratoga.
Is the gluten-free bread good? I'm going to be honest, anytime someone's been like, it's gluten-free, try it, you'll like it.
Well,
like,
it's good for someone who can't have bread. It's good for someone who can't have bread. So if you're genuinely not eating bread, it's going to be good enough.
Okay. That's good to know. I am eating bread, but I did have like 2 years where I didn't. and I had like fake cheese, and at the time it was good, but now when I try fake cheese,
just to be clear, if you can eat gluten and dairy, please do. Don't cut it out just for fun.
That is one, and like, that does bring me joy.
Like, eat the things that you can eat. If your body can tolerate it, do it. If your body can't tolerate it, then I'll teach you some stuff and we can do it together. But we don't love it. We're miserable about it. We hate it, but we do it for the benefit of our body.
Intolerance is man. It's the worst. In regards to kind of the mental health aspect with social media, do you feel like that's affected your mental health? Are there certain barriers or boundaries that you put around it? I always like to ask this question because everyone is involved in social media, especially as a creator. And I feel like that impacts people so much, and I kind of want to know, how do you find a balance with that?
So it is easy because we talked about like ups and downs, how there's times where I need to ghost the internet, right? Like I need to take some time off. There are definitely times where you feel not good enough, right? Because then you come back on and there's no engagement, and, you know, everyone else is thriving and you're like, wait, I'm getting left behind. No. Getting left behind. And that's like actually probably the biggest mental battle for me. If I get hate comments on a bad day, then those can be really toxic for me.
Do you read those usually?
Oh yeah. No. I intentionally read them.
Like, I have to respond to one of these, so I'm going to go
No, not necessarily. I don't respond to a lot of them. I screenshot them and I have them an album in my phone because here's the thing.
This is the most intense response I've heard to this question.
Here's the thing. When I'm having a bad day, then I hate them and they're toxic. But when I'm having a good day, I look on them, and again, it enables the conversation, right? Hey, this is the messed up way that people think. People genuinely feel and think this way, which is so messed up. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we view that.
It's for a conversation starter, but it's not to like sit and... Or on a good day, it's not to sit
So, have you read David Goggins' book? Okay, so this is this is his audio, and I've always done this. I've always screenshotted the hate comments and saved them on my phone. Yes, it gives me inspo for like starting a conversation, but in a way, it's very personal, right? Like I read those comments, like I ingest them and consume them. Okay, but not in necessarily a negative way. I feel like that sounds like a negative way.
So I was like, are you okay?
No, but
that's a bigger conversation.
This is the audio. I don't know how well you'll be able to hear it, but this is the audio that's on TikTok of that book that kind of is on the topic.
Keep on talking your shit. I will absorb it and make a mixtape out of your fucking ass.
So
I'm surprised I haven't heard that one.
So I love that audio. So he basically goes over, like, every time he gets a hate comment, what does he do? He puts it in kind of a mixtape form. I'm not sure if he like reads it out loud and actually puts it in like an audio. I think he does that because it's like an audio that he listens to while he trains. And that like fuels his fire. Like it fuels his fire. Like if you are getting hate, you are doing something right. And I'm like, if people are giving me hate, I'm standing up for someone who is the minority here, right? Like someone who needs it. Someone who needs someone to stand up for them. Whether that be a girl who gets hate for what she wears or gets hate for her body type or whatever it is that I'm getting a hate comment about, someone needs to hear it and I'm doing something right? Yeah. Like if I'm opening that conversation. So like, it's not just to potentially, like it's not to wallow. It's like, no, that's fueling my fire.
I
like
love that.
You're hating on me. Good. Bring it on.
Keep going.
Bring it on.
It's my gas. We're going to go.
I only wish that more people would say the hate comments in real life. Yes.
That's what I always, this is a side tangent, but every time someone says something and I go to their account, and I usually at this point don't, but every now and then I'll be like, if I happen to get into a fight with someone online, I'll like look at their account and it's like, there's no picture. There's no nothing. I'm like, who is this person?
And a lot of the times
you would never come up to me and say that, because if you did, then we could have a discussion, but you
won't have the discussion. People who can't have the discussion in real life will message you online.
They're like the
even if
biggest
you know
haters.
them, they would never say that thing to you in real life. And so I'm like, if we could have the balls to have a conversation in real life, we might get somewhere. We might have an actual relationship, but you can't do that.
No.
You can't do that. So you hide behind your phone. You hide behind your phone, you send the messages, and that's on you.
Yeah.
Because
I
I can...
The critique is no problem, but I'm like, but at least like...
Yes.
Have some accountability with that.
Yes, like say it to my face. Like I'm not scared of you saying it to my face. I'd rather know how you really feel. Yeah. So
like, do you live next to me? Are
bring
you
it
my
on.
neighbor? Who is this?
Bring it on.
Usually if I start getting into it, I'll say, I'm happy to continue this conversation, but I need to know who you are. If you can give me a name and a photo, then I'm happy to continue. But unless there's any accountability, because I'm on here publicly accounting for everything I say, I expect the same from you.
That's
and if you're
fair.
not willing to do that,
that's
conversation's
fair.
over.
But a lot of the hate comments I get, I can envision people in my real life who I love who would say those things to me. And so that's also why I feel like it's important for me to keep that in mind, to like stay in touch with that side of myself and the people pleaser side of myself, right? And not being afraid to take up space and be myself, even if it terrifies me, because I know there's so much disapproval around me. So
do you feel that like from family and friends kind of thing, that it's like...
From lots of people.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It fuels my fire. That's okay.
So the same thing, even with when it isn't just random people, you still kind of treat it the same way, where it's like...
Yes, because I've learned how to handle it from the internet, from responding to hate comments. So I feel like it's taught me better how to respond to people in like real life. So
I love that. That's very empowering. It makes me a little sad, but I'm also like, that's kind of the reality. We have to learn how to fuel our fires in spite of the challenges.
Yes. It does keep me passionate for sure. Like it keeps me passionate about standing up for myself, because that is really hard to do. Like I don't want to stand up for myself.
Because you're a people pleaser. You're like, oh no, what if this is going to ruin someone's day? They can ruin the video.
But don't be wrong. I can definitely be a bitch if I need to. I just don't ever want to.
It's only if they force me. If I have to.
If I have to, I will.
Fine.
Yes.
Speaking of fueling your fire, I'm curious kind of what is your next step with your career, your TikTok, with life, kind of where do you see yourself? First, let's start. What's your next step? What's your next exciting move?
I'm kind of in a transition period right now, trying to figure things out. Not because I know what I'm transitioning to, just because...
You're like, I'm in limbo.
Yes, like I'm genuinely in a little bit of a limbo. But I love my one-on-one clients and training, but I have found that it's hard to keep up with that when I go through personal things, because it is... like an emotional connection with my clients. So if I am not filling my own cup actively and consistently, then it's hard. And so I want to find a way to maintain that, but not make it my main job like it is right now. So that I'll always take on like clients, especially when I get clients that have like a chronic illness and stuff. It makes me so happy, because like they need more guidance, and there's not a lot of trainers that do that. So I love doing that, and I will probably always do that. But I want to find a way to provide, like I also do programs, but that's cookie cutter, you know, and I want you to make it your own. So I'm brainstorming ways to make just amazing programs for more people without having it be so draining emotionally.
Yeah.
And so that's what I like to figure out for myself. Like I want to be able to give to people without giving myself too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're trying to find the balance of how can I expand what I'm doing while still
maintaining my boundaries and stuff. Because I don't want to maintain my boundaries, because I want to help everyone. You know what I mean?
This should have just been a whole episode on people pleasing.
Maybe. But I have an assistant and she's incredible and she helps me so much. So I feel like it's a lot more maintainable now with an assistant because she is incredible and she can help and do all the things for me and with me. Delegate. And yes. And so that helps a ton. That helps a ton. And so she's helping me like figure it out. Like she gives me the time and capacity to figure out which direction I want to take it. At the end of the day, all I'll ever want to do is figure out ways to help people and empower them to like just be their best self, that they're worth it, because so many women don't think they're worth it. And so whatever that looks like, I don't even know what it looks like, but whatever it looks like, all I will ever care about is like making sure women understand that you are worth it and that we're going to get you to a place where you like feel like your actual best self, you know?
I love that. And I have no doubt you will figure that out. And I'm excited to support you in your journey and transitioning, whatever that looks like.
Thank you.
Do you think that's going to stay within, I know you say like mental health, fitness, or like physical health. It's a realm. Is that something you think you're going to stay in forever or?
Yeah. I mean, health in general. Yeah. Like that's who I am. So
that's so exciting. That's awesome. Talking about David Goggins, you brought up. I want to know. I'm a big podcast consumer. We were talking about this earlier. I also love books.
Yeah.
Are there any favorite books or podcasts you have that you've been loving recently that you want to share that you think would be helpful for people in this realm?
I mean, I really enjoyed his book, Can't Hurt Me. His new book.
I didn't know he had another one.
Yeah, he has a new book. I haven't finished it yet. I ghosted the world for a while. Including David Goggins, apparently.
I want to ask you, I know this question is asked a lot, but kind of, and you had mentioned you get this a lot in your DMs, what kind of advice you give to someone who wants to be in your situation or who has struggled with some of the things you're struggled with, or they're just starting their fitness journey. What would that look like?
So in relation to like people asking like, oh, I'm about to start a health and fitness account. Like, what do you recommend for me? Just honestly find any way that resonates with you to help other people. And it has to be in a way that resonates with you, right? Because otherwise it's just going to drain you and you have to stay authentic to yourself. So like for me, that's showing like lifestyle, like how to have a lifestyle that helps you feel like your best self, and helping people with like chronic illnesses and stuff. Obviously for everyone, it's going to be different. So if you posting about, you know, your workouts or your mental health issues or your eating disorders or like whatever around health that you want that really resonates with you, everyone has a niche, right? And you don't have to stick to that niche. You can like go beyond and do all the things, and that's great. But you have to find whatever is your thing. And I think a lot of it is hard because you feel the same as everyone else. Like when you're posting, you're like, I've seen this trend 600 times. Like I'm just doing the same things as everyone. Like, why does the internet or social media, like no one's going to need me. Right.
Yeah.
But if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, you're going to be an individual. Like you're not going to be the same as anyone else, even if you're posting workout videos and, you know, get ready with me's and the things that everyone posts, like it's going to be you. So it'll be different. So as long as you're posting the things that help you feel like you're helping other people, you know, then you're going to be fine because you're going to be passionate about it. So.
Well, I think too, I mean, we gave examples earlier of how you've done that with, you know, your grumpy get ready with me videos, or even then, like, even if someone did like the same exact video, because they're a different person, it's still going to be different if it's authentic at the end of the day. And I feel like that, you know, being in my industry where I'm like, I know like fitness is saturated, acting is saturated, where it's kind of like, well, there's so many people and someone's going to be prettier and have more connections and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, no one can replace me. No one can replace you.
No.
At the end of the day.
Everyone's different. Everyone's different. And you know what? Other people are going to get different opportunities than you, maybe more opportunities than you based on what you have to offer. So just don't compare yourself to other people because it is an individual thing. You usually just don't see yourself clearly. And if it's not about you as much, then you don't take that hit as personally. Like if you're posting for other people, if there's even one person that like comments on my post and is like, Mindy, I really needed to see this today, then I'm like, that's all I need. It's worth the 30 minutes of editing a video, you know, like whatever. Like it's worth it if it helps one person.
Yeah, if your goal is
hopefully
to
it helps
make an
more
impact and you helped a person, then you did that.
Yes. And we always want it to be more, right? We always want it. If it's social media, we want it to be quantity.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not quantity. Like if you have dedicated 5 people who just love everything you post, that's way more than enough. That's way more than enough. I love it. Did I do the same?
What do people call you? Muscle mommy.
Oh.
Every time I heart those comments. I'm like,
wow.
I don't know if I'm bold enough to say it, but I'll.
Okay, I love that. I feel like I've only gotten like 2 of those comments ever.
Oh, well,
so
now literally like you're the person I associate in my mind when someone's like muscle mommy. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, Mindy, yeah.
That's definitely the best compliment I've ever gotten. I will take it and I will think about that.
Is that just me that's associated you with that?
Yes, because I feel like
that's like the same thing to me. It's
like
synonymous.
I feel like that's a common compliment for people to give other people right now.
But when that word comes into my head, no one else does.
It's just me.
Yeah.
I will take it. Oh,
Yeah.
I have a lot to live up to now.
No,
I have to be the
see
muscle
your quads
mommy.
and I'm like, oh man, okay. Wow. Like mine don't look like it. It's okay. I'm still beautiful.
Which is funny because I want them to be so much bigger.
I can't even. I'm like, I don't even know how you've gotten them to where you've gotten them. Which, if you want to learn, then I guess you need to hire her. But yeah, you're muscle mommy. So
Thank you.
Will be muscle mommy now.
I will take that. Like that. Yeah, I'll be writing on that compliment for a while because like muscle mommy. Like who doesn't want to be called that?
Yeah, and it's only gonna be you. So
only me.
And everyone else is banned from that. Last thing I want to do, I've loved having you on here. This has been so fun. You've given so much great advice, and you've given nuance to conversations that I've had before with other people, but you've brought some new insights, and the way you've articulated things has been amazing, and I definitely know this will help people. Lastly, if we want more of this, more of Muscle Mommy, where do we need to go? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is the same. It's MindyMHatch. So
At Muscle Mommy.
At musclemommy.com. Yes, MindyMHatch. And I probably post more on Instagram.
Okay.
TikTok has hated me for a little while now, so I'm discouraged about posting there.
TikTok, honestly, I'm like, I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist.
Not that Instagram doesn't hate me, but I'm at least more comfortable there. So it's like I can post and nobody sees it, and that's fine because like it's my comfort place.
Oh,
but, like
I see,
TikTok's not my comfort place yet.
Yeah. So it's more vulnerable.
Yes, because I don't know the people there. I probably do, but I don't know that. So
I feel like Instagram is more likely to put it to people you know, whereas TikTok
shows it to anyone.
And so
it usually brings in the
like,
haters, right?
Yeah.
Because those are the people who are commenting.
Engaged.
So it's like I don't want to put something vulnerable out and then get hated on. I will take it though, but I don't want it.
Everyone's gonna listen to this and go, "Oh, I'm gonna comment something mean." I'll be in our mixtape.
Well, it does inspire me, so go ahead, feel free.
And it'll be me next, anonymous, Monica 1 2 3 4 5. Oh, I love that. Well, I'm excited for people to follow along if they're not already following you. Is there anything else? Going through the questions that we talked about, is there anything else you wanted to share that you don't feel like you got to say? Anything else you wanted to hit on or talk about?
I don't think so. Like, I feel like we did a good job. You did a good job.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
I only did a good job.
You did amazing.
Thank you. There we
you
go.
You did freaking amazing.
No.
Not a good enough
I
words of affirmation.
And I'm trying not to make them too long for my editor's sake. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining. Go follow her, you guys. Thanks again for listening to the That's More Like It podcast. We will see you or hear you next time. Bye.
Love you.
This was a Titan Media Collective production.